You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN E-mini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things E-mini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro. Joining us today, Mr. Michael Borth. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Friday. Yes, it is. 22nd day of March, 2024. Thanks so much for joining us. Whoever you are, wherever you are, we're just glad to have you right here, right now. This is our second live broadcast of the day. Now, this broadcast is open to the public. Everybody, everywhere on planet Earth with an internet-connected device. The first broadcast we do every trading day is not open to the public. That broadcast is reserved for members only and those who are taking their 1-week free trial. If you have not taken your 1-week free trial yet, go to mytradingiq.com. Very top of the page, it says 5-day free trial, no credit card required. That's right. Now, that's sort of misleading when it says free trial because, well, nothing's free except salvation, right? Okay. When you take the trial, it costs us time, energy, resources, all kinds of stuff. But you don't pay it down. So we don't ask you for a credit card or your mother's maiden name or any of that stuff. Okay. But when you register for the free trial, it is important that you fill out the form properly so that we actually get it. It's an automated process. And in most cases, what will happen is the same day that you sign up, we'll get your desktop set up, we'll get your indicators indicating, and then the following trading day, that's when your trial actually begins. Did I just turn a 5-day trial into a 7-day trial because today's Friday, which means Saturday and Sunday don't count against you? I did. It's one of my few magic tricks. 2 days you have, Saturday and Sunday, to get familiar with the indicators and to look at the markets that do trade over the weekend. Things like crypto, things like Forex. But again, the meter starts running on your trial Monday morning at 9:20 a.m. Eastern when you show up for the live training room. When you take the trial, you get more than just the live training room for 2 hours every trading day for 5 days. You have access to every resource that our passport holders have access to. With one exception, the members only workshop on Thursday night. You get the weekly trading zones, you get the Logic 247 alerts, the concierge trade alerts, one-on-one mentoring. In fact, we treat you like a passport holder for an entire week without you having to risk one thin dime. Because we want you to have a clear head so that at the end of the 5-day trial, you can make a well-informed, intelligent decision as to whether or not trading is right for you. So again, go to mytradingiq.com, click that link at the top of the page, take a minute to fill it out properly to make sure we get it, give us the information we do ask for that we do need, okay? And then someone will be in touch with you usually pretty quickly and get you all set up, okay? Now, when the live training room ends each day at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, we take a 30-minute break and we come back for this broadcast, one that's open to everybody everywhere on planet Earth with an internet-connected device. There's two different ways to join this afternoon broadcast live. Now, the best way, you only have to do this once. Just go to mytradingiq.com, scroll down the page, and you'll see where it says afternoon broadcast, 12 noon Eastern. Click that link. Now you're going to have a 30-second registration form. It's real simple, but you do need to just fill it out. Hit submit. Every trading day going forward, after you submit that form, you'll get an email with a link in it about an hour before this broadcast starts. So at 12 noon Eastern, all you have to do is click the link in the email and it'll automatically log you into our platform. Benefit of doing it that way is that gives you access to the question box, so you can ask questions and participate in the discussion. Of course, there will be days that you're out of the office, away from the desktop, but you still want to join live. You can. And there'll be days when you're busy, you can't join live, but you would like to get caught up later. Well, you can do that too. I'm talking, of course, about our YouTube channel. It's very easy to remember. youtube.com/CFRN. You already know the YouTube part, so really all you got to remember is the CFRN. Not only do we broadcast live on our YouTube channel, as we're doing right now, we're simulcasting on the YouTube and on our platform. Not only do we broadcast live every trading day, but we also archive each and every daily broadcast. Currently, there are over 2,400 daily episodes archived for your educational and viewing pleasure. And if you're new to the world of CFRN, it's a great way to get to know who we really are. Not just today, not just this week. But thanks to the power of YouTube, you can see how we've evolved over the years. You can scroll back 6 weeks, 6 months, a year, 3 years, even more. Just pick some days at random, listen in a little bit, fast forward, listen in a little bit. What you'll discover is the thread of connectivity, the thread of continuity that's woven through each and every daily broadcast and our very vibrant trading community. youtube.com/CFRN. With that said, let's open with our daily devotional and a word of prayer. Wow.
Welcome to the webinar. You have entered as an organizer and may now speak to any other organizers or panelists on the line. When you are ready to begin the presentation, press the Start Broadcast button on the GoToWebinar control panel to allow all attendees to hear you. This system will notify you once you begin your broadcast.
All right, guys, I don't want to point any fingers or blame anybody, but somebody tried to fire up this platform and they kicked me out. So I don't know what you've heard, what you didn't hear. You're probably sitting there staring at your monitor going, what the heck happened? Well, anyway, I already did the opening part of everything I do each and every day. So if you feel left out, just go to yesterday's broadcast at youtube.com/CFRN and you can hear it. I say the same thing every day at the open. I mean, somebody's texting me saying, oops, sorry.
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Okay, somebody fat-fingered something somewhere and booted me out of the broadcast. I'm saying this a second time because it just happened again. My goodness. Let's just get to the daily devotional and pray it doesn't happen again. And how hard is it to not do that? I don't know. But somebody did. All right. Our daily devotional today. We've got today and one more day on this topic. Goliath must fall. Winning the battle against your giants. Now, for those of you that are logged in via YouTube, you're wondering, what's all the hubbub? Because you didn't miss a thing. But those of you that are tuned in via... Russell says, it wasn't me. I didn't do it. Okay, thanks, Russell. All right, so our topic for the past week or so has been Goliath must fall, winning the battle against your giants. Now, we all have giants in our life, okay? Just as David had that 9-foot Philistine, okay? Now, some of the giants we've talked about might have surprised you. Comfort was one of them. Yesterday we talked about anger. That could be a giant in a lot of people's life. That's why so many judges sentence people to anger management classes. And maybe you've driven on our highways and byways and been the victim of road rage. Or maybe you've been the road rager. And you should listen to yesterday's broadcast. Today, the giant we're going to slay is addiction. Now, I know you might say, well, I've never done heroin. Yeah. How many bottles of scotch did you drink this week? Or how many cartons of Rocky Road did you eat in the middle of the night while nobody was looking? And how many times have you, when your team was playing, used that as a valid excuse to stay home from church? We all have our addictions. It may not be something you shoot in your arm. It may not be something you pour down your throat. But it's part of the human condition. And that's what we'll talk about today before we pray. Our scripture is 1 Corinthians 10, verses 11 through 13. I'm going to share with you from the Message translation. These are all warning markers. Danger. In our history books, written down so that we don't repeat their mistakes. Our positions in the story are parallel. They at the beginning, we at the end. And we are just as capable of messing it up as they were. Don't be so naive and self-confident. You're not exempt. You could fall flat on your face as easily as anyone else. Forget about self-confidence. It's useless. Cultivate God confidence. And verse 13, no test or temptation that comes your way is beyond the course of what others have had to face. All you need to remember is that God will never let you down. He'll never let you be pushed past your limit. He'll always be there to help you come through it. Now, the King James Version does a pretty good job with that scripture. I'm not going to reread the whole scripture from the King James, but I encourage you to. Okay? You're never going to be tempted. What it says is you're never going to be tempted beyond what you can resist by the power of the Holy Spirit. But keep in mind, you got to want to resist, okay? Just because you have a craving doesn't mean you have to give into it. So, seriously, if you know you're dealing with some kind of addiction in your life, go to 1 Corinthians 10. Just read the whole thing. When David volunteered to fight Goliath, King Saul told him, "You aren't able." Remember, David was just a boy, a teenager. He went on to explain that David was no match for the giant because he had been a warrior from his youth. Oh, so Goliath wasn't always 9 feet tall. He was once a youth as well. When David failed to be persuaded not to fight, now his brothers couldn't be persuaded to fight, but David couldn't be persuaded not to fight. Saul attempted to cover him up with his own armor. He wanted David to suit up so he would look stronger and more protected than he really was. And David promptly took the armor off. It didn't fit. How are you going to fight in that suit? Now, we do the same in our own lives. We feel powerless in a broken world and wide open to attack. So we put on false armor, armor that does not fit us properly, and hide in addictions. Sad reality is that we are an addicted generation. We may not think of ourselves as addicted, but the truth of the matter is most of us have something in our lives that we feel we can't live without. Whether it's alcohol, a relationship, shopping, accomplishments, drugs, adrenaline, even our old friends, social media. We're enslaved to that thing and can't break the habit of going to it when we feel vulnerabilities surface, because it gives us that shot of dopamine and serotonin that our brain craves. Every time somebody likes one of your posts on Facebook, you get a little bump. You get a little bump of the happy juice created by your own brain. The giant of addiction can rob you of God's best for you. It can lead you down a never-ending path to a never-fulfilled promise. In the end, it will stand over you, ridiculing you and dimming the fame and glory of God in your life. So how can you realize Jesus' victory over this giant? The key is to look past the symptoms of the addiction and focus on the cause of the addiction. Ask yourself questions like this. What is the source of this chaos in my life? Why do I feel inadequate? Why do I fear being known? Where is the pain coming from? Unless you're willing to look for what is causing your problems, the giant of addiction is not going to fall. Most of us follow a pattern where when we feel vulnerable to attack, it makes us feel weak. This weakness, in turn, compels us to cover up and cope. And when we try to cover up and cope, we run to an addiction. Fortunately, there's a solution. Instead of running to an addiction when you feel the need to cover up, run to Jesus. Know that whatever vulnerability you are feeling, Jesus won't push you away. He accepts you in His love and infuses you with His life. He exchanges your weaknesses for His strength. When you are vulnerable, Jesus is able. See what I did there? Able is the last part of vulnerable. You might have to write it out to see it. Perhaps the greatest lie when facing your addictions is that you can wage the battle on your own, hidden from view. Always remember that freedom happens in the light. Jesus is the light of the world, and He works most powerfully in you when you bring your brokenness and hurt into the light of His grace. You are free in Christ the instant you place your trust in Him. But it may be that you need to call on those standing close by to help unravel the layers. Do whatever is necessary to weave your life into a system of openness, honesty, and accountability. In the end, David refused to be covered in Saul's armor. He put aside all the trappings that Saul tried to weigh him down with, and chose instead to rely only on God. He went out to fight the giant armed with only his sling, his rod, and his God. And we all know how the story ends. He took Goliath down. This is the template for our living. And as we look only to God for strength in our vulnerabilities, the giant of addiction, whatever it is, will fall in our lives. There's some things to ponder. What are some situations that tempt you to put on false armor to protect your vulnerability? I mean, we all know what it's like to show up at a party. Maybe we feel a little self-conscious. But maybe after a couple cocktails, you become the life of the party. Now, does that fix anything? Well, it may seem to for the moment, or for that night, or for that party, right? But then you're going to just have to repeat that process again. Learn to turn to God, and only God. Give you the courage to speak up, to share who you really are. And don't be a blabbermouth. Listen to what the other people are trying to say. Remember what they say, they think is as important as what you're trying to say as soon as they shut up. Why is it so attractive to deal with pain and vulnerability through an addiction? Why is it often so hard to turn to Jesus in our weakness rather than to an addiction? Now, some of you that know about true addiction, you're going to go, because it feels good, man. Yeah, for the moment, but not the next morning. And you got to do the walk of shame in your own bedroom. Hopefully it's your bedroom. Might be a bedroom you've never seen before, or not one you can remember. So, why is it essential to tell trusted individuals about your addiction and get their support in breaking free? There's a program called Celebrate Recovery. It's like AA or NA, but it's done on a spiritual platform based upon Scripture. If you're suffering from any kind of addiction, go Google your zip code and celebrate recovery. Celebrate recovery. Now, this was started at Saddleback Church, Pastor Rick Warren. Find a group in your area and go meet with like-minded people who are fighting the same giant you're fighting. I'm going to tell you, personal experience, it's easier to slay a giant when you're not alone. When you know somebody has your back and your phone number. How would you know if someone was a safe person to confide in about an addiction? Now that's critical, okay? Don't go blabbing this issue to just anybody. Pastor, elder in your church, somebody that you really trust. Somebody that's going to be there. Now, in one of these meetings, whether it's Celebrate Recovery or AA or NA or whatever it is, you'll find people that are willing to do what's called sponsoring you. And they'll call you at random times of the day or night and just check in on you. Make sure you're okay. Listen to hear if your speech is slurred a little bit. And you've got their number. When the temptation comes and the bartender's already poured the drink, but you haven't picked it up yet, you haven't picked up the glass, you can whip out your phone and call your sponsor. We'll meet in a coffee shop somewhere. Remember, God will never allow you to be tempted by anything beyond what you can resist by the power of the Holy Spirit and perhaps a sponsor. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for the wisdom we find in 1 Corinthians 10. Lord, help us to learn from the mistakes of the past and to heed the warnings given to us in your word. Grant us, Lord, the humility to recognize our own vulnerabilities and weaknesses. Keep us from becoming overconfident or complacent in our faith, knowing that apart from you, we're nothing. Help us, Lord, to rely on your strength and your guidance in everything we do. May we walk in humility and dependence on you, trusting in your faithfulness to keep us from falling. Thank you, Lord, for your grace and your mercy toward us. May we always look to you as our source of strength and security. It's in Jesus' name we believe and pray. Everybody said, amen. Amen. Happy Friday. Let me give you the numbers from around the world. I'm going to start here in the U.S. with the cash markets, or the indices as they're called. Currently the Dow is down 211 points. The NASDAQ is positive by 9. S&P 500 is down 7. Here it comes. The Russell 2000, our man in the street, is down 21, which is exactly 1%. In the commodity basket, crude oil down 22 cents, trading 80.85 last. Gold down $17.20, trading 21.6750 last. Silver down 13 cents, trading 24.87 last. So now we're below that $25 mark. It's a shame. In the Asian markets at the close, Nikkei posted a gain of 72 points. Shanghai dropped 29. The Hang Seng fell 363. That's a little over 2%. And in the European markets at the close, FTSE up 53, the DAX up 39, CAC down 26. That gave us a mixed day in Asia. It was a mixed day in the UK. And the NASDAQ being positive by 7 points, which for the NASDAQ is really not much. At the moment, it is a mixed Radio Friday. But I suspect that before this broadcast ends, the NASDAQ just might turn and follow the rest of the pack. I could be wrong. It happened once back in the 80s. So, onto your hat. Okay, I'm going to show you something you may not want to see. Okay, if you believe the story we've been told that the border's secure and there is no crisis, then you should probably leave the room. You can't hear the sound. That's just how this whole business works. But this was yesterday at our border, the U.S. border. Now, this is a short clip. I don't know if it's going to show our National Guard being overrun by undocumented people. No, people illegally entering our country to take your jobs. The latest one is they take your homes. If they find a house for sale, they just break in and claim it as their own. In the state of New York, it can take up to 20 to 40 months to get a squatter out. If you didn't know that, well, now you do. All right. I just could not show you that. Get in trouble for it? So be it. Logic 247, we're in week 294. Over the last 294 weeks, we've issued over 16,300 individual handcrafted alerts. And what we've averaged over those 294 weeks is 20% or less of the alerts being stopped out based on market structure and a very simple process that we teach all of our passport holders in their one-on-one mentoring sessions. Now, this recap was done this morning by Valerie at 6:30 a.m. Eastern. So some things have changed since then, and I've added a couple of more. Okay, so this afternoon, she will provide a final recap for the entire week, and that will be posted in the discussion group and in the trial discussion group. Since the markets opened Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern through 6:30 a.m. this morning, we had issued a total of 63 alerts. 3 never triggered. Still waiting on the outcome of 10. That gave us 50 actionable alerts, of which 8, or 16%, would have been stopped out, again based on market structure and that very simple process that we teach all of our passport holders. That could be you. Great week. In troubled times, with the Fed announcement and all the other things that have happened this week. Anyway. Now, long before we had Logic 247, and that's 294 weeks ago, but about twice that long, we had what we call our concierge trade alerts. They're different. Different how? Let me tell you. The logic alerts can come out around the clock, 2 a.m., 2 p.m., because futures trade around the clock and we have traders around the globe. The CTAs are published as a static report shortly after the Globex open each evening. Globex opens Sunday through Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern. So we were 40 minutes into the open when I got these published last night. A little later than I normally do, and sooner than occasionally I do. So I do my best to get them out as soon as I can after the Globex open. Now the logic alerts, they have an entry price, an initial target designed to help you get your goal for the day, and then often a second, third, fourth, fifth target, and a final trade to target. Where do those additional targets come from? Looking left. Previous swing highs on a long trade can become resistance. Previous swing lows on a short trade can become support. So again, you've got an entry price, an initial target, and perhaps multiple targets, then a final trade to target. If it's a short alert, the final trade to target will be the weekly zone below. If it's a long alert, final trade to target will be the weekly zone above. Now, when this report is published, the first thing you do is go to the 30-minute chart of whatever markets you trade. Before this broadcast ends, we're going to go through each one of these markets. Okay? Now, in about 15 minutes, maybe more like 10 minutes, Michael's going to join us, give us a recap of everything that happened in the live training room this morning. Then we're going to go live on the TradingView platform for 30 minutes, some live trading, and then I'll complete the recap of the CTAs, and we'll wrap the week up with our good word for the day. So when the report comes out, go to the 30-minute chart, whatever markets you actually trade. Make note on the 30-minute chart where price was at the time the report was published. It's always going to be between these two numbers. Then draw a line in the sand at the long target, line in the sand at the short target. Those will serve as great visual cues to help you stay on the right side of the street. Price gets above the 30-minute BBC, it's attempting to reach the long target. Price gets below the 30-minute BBC, it's attempting to reach the short target. The BBC, it stands for bull bear cross. It's the green line you see on my charts. When price gets above the green line, we're bullish and anticipate higher prices. When price gets below the green line, we're bearish and anticipate lower prices. Relative to whatever time frame you're looking at, daily, weekly, monthly, 30-minute, 5-minute tick chart, range chart, doesn't matter. Bull, bear, cross. That's what it means. Now, as I told you, with the logic alerts, I look left for you to spot the potential obstacles, which we call targets. With the CTAs, you're stepping up your game and looking left yourself. If you're using the TradingView platform, Michael has even made it so simple you don't even have to look left. It'll draw a little green line for you, or a red line on a short. But trust me, you still want to learn how to look left, okay? Now, our goal for you is that you become self-sufficient. If your goal is to trade for a living, that's never going to happen as long as you're dependent upon someone else to tell you when to get in and when to get out. You've got to learn how to read the chart yourself and instinctively know where the window of opportunity is and where the next high probability, low risk trade is. That's not going to happen overnight, but if you show up every day, you ask questions every day, you'll get there sooner than you might think. Also, you're going to learn how price behaves at a weekly trading zone. That is really important because price is always trying to reach a weekly trading zone. There are very few things in the market that you can say always about. From the moment the markets open Sunday night till they close Friday afternoon, price is always trying to get to a weekly zone. If it's above the 30-minute BBC, it's trying to get to the zone above. If it's below the 30-minute BBC, it's trying to get to the zone below. Now, just because it's trying doesn't mean it always gets there. No. But once it reaches a zone, only one of three things happens. 70% of the time consolidation, 20% of the time rejection, 10% of the time the slice. Published the zones since December 14th of 2009, almost 15 years. They come out for our members and trial members Monday morning, 6:15 a.m. Eastern. Some of you are saying, well, I was a trial member this week and I didn't get the weekly trading zones. That's because you didn't install Telegram like we told you to do at the beginning of your trial. Sorry. Beyond that, just resist the urge to make it more complicated. Something about the human condition, our little rat brains, we always want to complicate things. Trading's not easy, but it can be simple. As long as you know which way the wind is blowing, it's pretty simple to reach your goal for the day. So, let's go look at where we're at right now, big picture. This is the daily chart of the S&P. Maybe you don't trade the S&P, and I'm pretty sure you don't trade the daily chart. I trade the S&P, but not the daily chart, but I do go to the daily chart every day before I start trading so that I can see what the institutional traders are up to. You see, the institutional traders, the ones with the really deep pockets, hundreds of millions, billions, even trillions of dollars, they're the ones who move price because of the size they trade in. So when I look at the daily chart of the S&P or a different futures market, an individual stock, a crypto, Forex, ETF, I'm literally looking over the shoulder of the deep pockets. And I'm able to see what they're doing. Are they buying today? Well, if they were, that candle would be green. Now, by looking at the daily chart, you can also identify where major resistance is. First, it's at the high of today's session, which began last night at 6 p.m. Eastern. Then it's at the all-time historic high, which was put in yesterday at 53.2275. Where's major support? 52.70. Got your step line in blue and climbing right there. That's major support because it's on the daily chart. When you look at the same thing the deep pockets are doing, you're able to do what they're doing just long enough to get your goal for the day and then have the discipline to put the mouse away. Again, doesn't matter what market you trade or stock or anything else. Spend 2 minutes with the daily chart before you drop to your smaller time frames to start trading. And over time, you'll see your trading results change for the better. Now, all alerts are created on the 30-minute chart. The zones you see here, like this is 53.34/35. That was the highest weekly trading zone this week for the ES. Okay. This zone is 52.53.54. Okay. Now we were down much lower earlier in the week, but look where the market found support. Where the market found resistance. When price drops to a zone, we expect support until proven otherwise. When price rallies up to a zone, we expect resistance until proven otherwise. Now today, we've got another narrow range day. The long CTA last night, these are the lines in the sand I was talking about. Okay, you can make yours look any way you want. This was the open last night, 6 p.m. Eastern. It was 10 minutes into the life of this candle that I issued the CTAs. As price pulls up to the BBC, we expect resistance. When price drops down to the BBC, we expect support. Price always reverts to the mean. In our case, the mean is green and it's called the BBC. Bullish above it, when price crosses below it, or bearish, relative to whatever time frame you're looking at. So we pull up to resistance. We trade down through potential support at blue and climbing. So this candle opens at 53.04 and takes you down 4 points right to the target, to the tick. Actually, it went one tick beyond it. That's 4 points. You only need 2 points to get your goal for the day. When the market finds support, what's it going to do? It's going to go look for resistance. Where did it find it? At the BBC, just like over here. So that resistance is going to send it once again looking for support, which it found at the short target. But you see, the short target is based off the low put in yesterday. What is this, some kind of self-fulfilling prophecy? Thank you for noticing. From this support, price actually gets a little bit above the BBC. But before you can go long towards the long target, you've got to overcome that swing high right there. And did that happen? It did not. And when these candles fail to take out that high, that's a sign of weakness. And then this happened. We dropped to the target, the short target, a third time, and then we retrace. Now, see where that support came from? That support from early yesterday. Actually, that would have been Wednesday night. Brick wall. Support sends us to resistance. Resistance sends us looking for support. Over and over, again and again. You should expect some potential support here, here, here. Then you got a nice little spot down here, down to the zone. That's if price continues to drop. Michael is here, so he's going to give us a recap of what happened in the live training room. And we'll go live on TradingView for 30 minutes. And then I will walk you through all the rest of the markets. We'll take a look at all the CTAs. We'll see exactly what happened when I come back.
Okay. Everybody good?
Hey, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Were you having a meeting or something during the time that you entered the live training room?
This morning?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Because I launched the show as I do every day.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, it closed. It said
No,
someone has, a user or whatever has closed this broadcast. I mean, I'm not mad or anything. I just fired it back up and kept going.
No, it wasn't me. I actually went outside and did a bunch of yard work before the rain comes in.
All right, so then we know that the culprit was in fact GoTo.
Yeah.
It hasn't done that to me in a while, but it has certainly done it in the past. I just hope it's not
a new thing, new problem.
A thing, a vision of things to come. Right. Okay.
I hope not too.
All right. Okay. So your screens look good. I'll hit mute.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Friday, the 22nd day of March, 2024. Now, if you have not taken a free trial with us and you want to, go here to mytradingiq.com and refresh this page because I just Skip on another computer. So if you see, this is what it said before, and this is what it says now. Click on this purple button to take the free trial, and it's going to bring you to this page that has a whole bunch of new dates on it. So I can close that one. Just fill out this form, and when you fill out this form, down here at the bottom, it gives you machine ID if you have one, gives you TradingView login ID if you have one. Click register. When you do that, we'll be able to enable your indicators for you. There's no credit card required. All we ask for is your first name, your last name, your phone number. You can fill out these drop downs, and down here gives you machine ID or your Ninja ID. Machine ID or your login ID. So we can get your indicators indicating for you. Okay. So we had an okay day today. We didn't have a really busy day considering it was Friday, and I don't train as much on Fridays. But well, we got the goal for the day. We'll go with that. If you're going to read the spreadsheet, you have to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Today we made 8 ticks on the NQ. We lost 3 ticks on the Russell. We made 11 ticks in gold and 5 ticks on the ES. That put us at 197.5 on the morning session. Today it took 22 minutes and 2 trades to get to the goal for the day. At that point, we're up $1,800. On the month now, we're up $6,425 with 1 contract. All right, and on the year, we're at $21,832 with 1 contract. All right, now you know I'm trading 15 contracts. So on the month, I guess, where are we on the month right now? On the month, isn't there some number I have in here that has the whole thing on the month? I guess this is it right here. 15 contracts times. I don't know. But anyway, I know altogether on the year we're at 302,492 for the whole 2 hours, and altogether, quitting when you get the goal for the day, we're at 112,000 right now. Now that brings us to this right here. If you were to quit trading when you get your goal for the day, and you follow the 24/20 blueprint, which means you start at 1 contract and you're on your way up to another contract every $2,000. Last year, what we did is we started with 1 contract and added 1 contract a month. That brought us to this year, starting with 13, 14, 15, and we just earned the right to go to a 16th contract today. We had to make $30,000 quitting when we got the goal for the day this month. So you have that the contract, and we just hit $31,585 today, quitting when we got the goal for the day. So that $31,585 was earned in 395 minutes. So a total of about 6.5 hours. On the year, now we've only had to work 23.93 hours so far this year, getting the goal for the day. Right, and we've averaged $4,719 per hour in that time. All right, let's get into the actual trades. Now you see gold is starting to move right here, and the way things started out this morning, they were really slow. Nothing was moving at all. It was like a whole bunch of snails racing, and nobody was winning. It was really slow. And let's see, we had here Russell, you sent an email last night about being a passport guy, didn't you? I think you did. I'll have to check on that. But anyway, on the gold, what do we have today? We had a couple of trades, I think. Yeah, we had 2 trades, 1 break even and 1 plus 11. Right, this one right here was our plus 11, and this one right here was our break even. This did go down to the prior swing low, which is what I was looking for. It did have something a little bit lower than that, which it didn't get to right there, but it did get to it over here. That was all that we did with the gold. During the break here, I had a couple of really nice green arrows, and right now this is an okay black arrow to take right here, because the distance from here to here is pretty good. You should probably make it down there. These horizontal lines you see right here were lines from yesterday, I think. Could have been from earlier this morning too, but I think they were from yesterday. Yeah, they were from yesterday. All right, so on gold, we ended with plus 11 ticks. That's 11 times 10 times 15, or 11 times 150. On Russell, now we ended down a little bit on the Russell. We started up a little bit and we ended down a little bit. Let's go all the way through here. And hang on. Oh, I guess that's right by it. All right, so we started out on Russell with a plus 5 somewhere. I don't know where it is. Apparently I didn't put the arrow on it, but we started out with a plus 5, and then we stopped out, and that put us at minus 5. And then we got a plus 2 right here. and that got us to -3. And that was where we ended up for the morning with the Russell. There was a couple of blue arrows right here that it would have actually stopped you out. Right there when it pulled back really deep right there, that would have stopped you out on it. And that was it for the Russell today. Okay, so now we'll take a look at the ES, and let's scroll this all the way back here. All the way back here. Still going. Still going. Okay, we're back in the yesterday now. Sorry, I went way too far. All right, so on the ES, here we go. We had our couple of trades today on the ES. This one here, our first trade on the ES was 4 ticks right there. And our next trade over here was just 1 tick. And that was all that we ended up with on the ES today. This is what it looked like it was going down to back over here. This was the target number, and you see it hit it right here. But it went sideways for a long time before it did. And that was it for the ES. There's nothing more to show on the ES today. Yeah, I doubt there will be either. I think market's really slow today. We didn't have any news this morning. I want to show you guys something else too about that in a minute. Something new that we have on our website that gives you a really good amount of news. The thing that we stuck on the website. It's better than gives you more information. And you can filter it so it only gives you information about the countries you care about, which for us is, we care more about the US than the other ones. The other ones are important too. Let's not say they're not, but the US is the one where we're trading. All right, so I'm looking for a trade here on the NQ. We are in today, right? Yeah, here's our first trade on the NQ. No, it was a different one on the NQ. That was our first trade. Our first trade on the NQ, we picked up 14 ticks. And that was after 23 minutes. So it should have been right in here somewhere. I picked up 23 ticks on some trade right through here. And that was I picked up 14 ticks on some trade right through there. That was our first trade on the NQ. And I believe that's where we got our goal for the day, whatever that was. So it was 23 minutes in. So that should put it right in here somewhere. Right in here, probably. Right through here or here. One of those. 23 minutes in, we picked up the gold for the day with 14 ticks. Then we stopped out on the next one that we took right here. That put us at -6. Then we had a small win right there of a +4 that got us to -2. Then we stopped out again right there. That one did go to break even. Well, it didn't go enough to get to break even. And I clicked the button, but it brought up the dialog box. So it slowed me down just enough to stop me out. And it stopped me out to the tick right there before it went down and did it again. But anyway, that put me to -22. And then we had this nice trade right here that gave us 30. And so that put us at +8. And that is where we ended it with the NQ for today. We had a nice blue arrow there. This would have lasted forever before. It looks like it probably would have stopped out to the tick right there before finally moving up. And as we scroll through, we didn't have any more blue arrows on the NQ. So that was it for the NQ for the morning session. Let me go over here and make sure I have the live stream ready to go. It looks like I do. Okay, I was a little slow getting the live stream going this morning. But for anybody that's watching right now, what I wanted to show you, if you're having any troubles with your DT Pro, there's a couple of things I wanted to show you. If you're having any troubles with DT Pro, okay, let me just start the live stream, and I can do this for everybody there too. Okay. Because I know some of you guys are still having issues with it, and I'm going to show you what we would do if we had a meeting with you. I created a place on the webpage. If you go here to the well, first, if you haven't taken a free trial with us, let me start out there. If you haven't taken a free trial, let's go here to mytradingaq.com, click on the purple button. There's no credit card required for the trial. When you click that, it's going to bring you to this page. Oh, not that page, but a page just like that. Just fill it out down here. Give us your first name, last name, email, and down here, give us your TradingView login ID. All right. Now, if you happen to not be using TradingView and you're using DT Pro, right here on the home page is a thing called Fix. Click on the Fix. Watch this video. This video is of a live stream that I did on Monday, but the first thing I did in the video on Monday was show you how to delete the CLI files. All right. show you how to do that in that video. And if that does not work, then you need to uninstall and reinstall the DT Pro or eFutures or Zane or 360, whatever it is. I think if you just do this and you install the DT Pro and you use your Zane or 360 or your eFutures login, it'll still affect your account. It'll just be using this white label software because it's all the same FCM at the end. I think that'll be okay. All right. So follow these steps right here to do the uninstall. All you have to do is go down here to your start menu, go to your DT Pro, click on that, right click on whichever one of these you want to uninstall. The one thing that I didn't put in there is when you click uninstall right here, it's going to make another window that says this. You have to select whatever it is you want to uninstall and choose uninstall right there, and that will uninstall it. Then go to this page, which is this one right here, trading platforms. Click on this right here, download DT Pro, and that's going to bring you to this page where you can download the demo right here or the live down here. Just do that, and that'll fix your problem more than likely, okay? If you're still having problems with DT Pro, then go with fix right here on the homepage at mytradingiq.com. All right. So for all you guys that are watching in the live stream, you don't have to worry about that because you don't have DT Pro. Now, getting back into the live stream stuff. Oh, there was one more thing I wanted to show you in here. This is also a good thing, and this is another benefit that we gain from TradingView. In here, we have a stock screener right here. But we also have, if you go here, the thing I was telling you about was the economic calendar. Now, the economic calendar is set to just show the euro and the USD news. Sorry, just euro and USD notes. It doesn't have anything else. So it'll show all of that, and it shows a lot more, like, normally you wouldn't, and Forex factors what I normally use, and you don't get that, and you don't get that. You don't get that. Well, that's a euro. You might get that. But there's a lot of things that are in here that are more detailed that you wouldn't normally get in your regular econ calendar. Okay, so that is right here. If you go to the home page, again, homepage at mytradingiq.com, econ calendar is right here. Click on more, right? And that will get you all you need, right? So if you want to take the free trial, go here to mytradingiq.com, click on the purple button, no credit card required for the trial. If you're not listening to this from the webinar, and you're listening to this in the live stream, and you want to hear two sides of the conversation, because eventually here, Dwayne's probably going to start talking to me, and I'm going to start responding to him, but you're only going to hear one side of the conversation. If you want to hear both sides of that conversation, this is free. Click here, and you can hear both sides of the conversation. You can join that every day if you want to. We've been doing this every day for over 10 years, and this actually starts at noon, whereas the live stream starts at 1. This session starts at noon, so it goes for a whole hour before the live stream starts. Okay, and then about an hour after the live stream starts. All right, that was a lot of information for Friday. So what we're looking at here for trades, we do have a higher swing here. This didn't actually hit the ribbon. That's why it's a black arrow, not a colored arrow, not a blue or green arrow. It is a colored arrow. It's a black arrow, not a blue or green arrow. It's not a white arrow, which is also a colored arrow. It's just white, but we don't have any white arrows other than these little ones. Anyway, what we're looking at here is, well, it's come down and it's just almost hit it right there. And what we need is a higher swing, which we're getting right now, and then we'll look for a pullback off of that. All right. Now, earlier in here, the Bitcoin was dropping a little bit more today. Now, what I was saying is this is an important area that it should not break through right here. The Bitcoin, let me blow it up a little bit so you can see a little better. Oops, I blew up the wrong thing. This right here is an important area that it should not break through. Okay, it should not break through this area. If it does, then this is where it's probably going to go down to. But this should hold, and then it should push us up here to 80,300 roughly, is what I'm thinking. Okay, that's the Bitcoin. I don't know why that is there. Oh, alerts are down. Okay, that's what it's saying. If you look at Ethereum, apparently alerts are down on all of these things. But in Ethereum, you see it it didn't pull back as deep as the Bitcoin did. But this is as low as it should go here. And if it breaks through there, this is where it'll probably go down to, right? So here's hoping that we get an up close Monday that gets up above the ribbon right here. If it doesn't happen today, by Monday, or it could happen over the weekend, but by Monday, hopefully we'll get a close up above that ribbon. Right, remember, this is crypto, so it trades all weekend long. Back here. So looking for the MQ to pull back down and test the ribbon. And that's it. All right. If anybody has any questions, ask them. If you want to see any of the symbols, all you have to do is ask. If you want to see any of the symbols on, say, TV trades, it's in here. If you want to see TV trades in here. Oops, sorry. Did it again. You just have to ask. This was what we looked at this morning. We took this off of the scanner on the website. And this is Carnival Cruise Lines on a 1 minute chart from today. So today on the 1 minute chart, we're just looking at really longs for the equities, right? So you just get rid of these shorts that are in here. And just looking for the longs. So today, starting today, it gave a long trade right here that worked out just fine. Another long trade right here that worked out just fine. And that was it so far today. Couple of long trades it's saying right now, possible long soon. And you can see the level that it's at right here is the level that it found support before. So if it breaks through that, well, then you have lower highs and lower lows. Right? If it doesn't break through that and it gives you a long trade, well, then you have a double bottom and it should push you back up to at least this level right here. And I'm pretty sure the target will reflect that. Okay. So if anybody has a stock or anything they want to see this on, if you want to see an ETF or something like that, you know, we could look at this PY. And this is on a minute chart. We're going to switch this to off a minute, but you can see on the minute chart, it gave you a beautiful long trade right back here. That worked out fine. Gave you a long trade here that gave a little bit, but then it would have stopped you out, and the stop's not huge on that. Right? Gave you a long trade here that worked out a little. That was all for today. So you can see this one worked out way better than the little stop that you would have had over here. And this one here, the stop was 10 cents. And this one, if we do a replay on it, let's see, the stop was 15 cents. And in this one, go a little further back, the stop was 23 cents. The risk reward though is 2. It's over 2 is the risk reward. So you're risking 15 cents to make it at least 30 in this case. Okay. Or, I'm sorry, in this case, you're risking 23 cents to make it at least 46 or 50. But pretty handy. If you have a stock you want to look at on this, just let us know. We'll be happy to show you. All right. If you want to know what this is all about, go to TradingView Trades. TradingView Trades is where that is at. Okay. Okay, it looks like we're almost getting trades here again in the futures. So let's get in here again. We have another black arrow. It didn't come down and hit the ribbon. Gold still doesn't have anything. This doesn't have anything. This doesn't have anything. So there. All right, it's 1:09. 21 minutes left. Does anybody have any questions? Anybody? All right, I have to think about something. Interesting.
Was it Dr. Seuss who said, "Can you hear a fireman think"? I think it was.
I don't know.
He's been banned now.
Yeah. We can't talk about him anymore, right?
I showed
exactly
the video earlier today of what happened at the border yesterday. That where they just overran the fence, overran the National Guard. It was pretty brutal. If you haven't seen the video, and
I saw something that was alluding to it.
yeah,
But I didn't actually watch the whole thing though.
all right, I'll hit mute again.
Yeah, it's all right. For those of you guys that are in the live stream, again, that's just me talking to myself because you didn't get into the other half of it. Dan was talking about the stuff that happened at the border. Okay, we have a blue arrow over there on the NQ. Now, this last one over here did not hit the ribbon. It did not put in a higher swing, but it wasn't a blue arrow. This is a blue arrow. So the blue arrows are the higher probability trade. All right. So I expect that is going to move up, and there it goes. And there it goes. It's a higher probability trade, so I'm going to lock in 4 ticks on that. All right. Now I have a 30-tick target up here on it, but the swing high is right here at 93.50. Okay, so as it gets up to the swing high, I'm going to lock in more. That was a question this morning. Somebody had asked me this morning, Derek, I think it asked me this morning, how to trail the stop. Now that it's gotten up to the swing high, I'm going to trail it pretty close, but you see I have a 30-tick target on it. So now I'm going to trail it right here, and we're now at 5 points, I think, 20 ticks. So we should get the whole 30 right here, I think. We did. We just got the whole 30. Okay, so the blue arrow is the highest probability trade. I don't know, is Derek in here right now? Does not look like it. No, okay. Well, anyway, that right there is, well, that would be a blue arrow right here for me, because we gained another 36 profit right there. And with 15 contracts on it, I think that's 1,800 bucks, right? 1850, something like that. It's still going. Where should it go? Where should it go? What do the targets say here? From this blue arrow, the first target is 93.75. So we've already hit the first target. Second target was 607. So the second target is right up here at 607. Okay, I can go in here and put the lines on, and you'll be able to see them. Show target line. There it is. Okay. So there it is. 607 is there. This was from this blue arrow right here is where those all should be shown. And so this is the first target. This is the second target right up here at 607. And I don't know what's going on with those lines down there, but the lines up above are the ones that are significant. So it may pull back before we get another trade, right? Before we get another shot at it. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 607, and then 618, and then 623.50, and there should be another one up here. Yeah, right up here. 664.25. Not sure what those are doing down there. But I was doing a lot of stuff last night. I don't think I actually published anything last night. But I was doing a lot of stuff trying to get the lines to work correctly on the TV trades thing. Let me see. I only have one of these on. Right? Yeah, only one of those. Anyway, over here on the Russell right now, we're pulling back and testing the ribbon here on the Russell, so we could get a long trade here too. All right, so we got 30 ticks on that first one. 30 ticks on the first one, and now we're looking for this to possibly give us a long trade. Now these are all range bars in here, you see. So I know how big every bar is going to be. So with the Russell right here, I know at the bottom of the bar is right here at 0.5. So if I add 8 to that, it's going to be 1.3 right there. Now the reason I'm adding 8 is because I know if the bottom stays right here at 0.5, the highest that this bar can get is right here at 1.2. And it has to exceed 1.2 to give an up close. And it will be a long trade. It will satisfy the requirements for a long trade. If it does that, it will satisfy the requirements for a long trade. So in this moment right here, I can be proactive with complete confidence that if it does give an up close right here, it satisfies all the requirements for a long trade and I'll be filled. Now, this is a pretty thinly traded market, so there's no guarantee I'm going to be filled right here at 1.3. Now, I had 4 ticks slip on one trade this morning, so we'll see where I end up getting filled if it closes up. All right, if it moves down, this bar has 0.5 up to 0.2. It's got all the range in it right now. So it's either got to close up at it's got to close up right here at 0.2 or down here at the bottom at 0.5. Right? That's all it can do. It's only got 7 ticks of range in it, and it's used them all up. All right, so over here on the NQ, we didn't get to the second target number, but we're pulling back down to give another shot at it, though. Okay, we gained 30 ticks on that first one. 30 ticks on that first one. This looks like it's going to close up and trigger us in. Remember, I don't know where I'm going to fill. I have my order right here, but I'll probably get slippage, and I'll probably fill over 2 or 3 ticks. And for those of you guys who don't know, it'll look like I'm filled in one spot here, but it averages it out. In the report that I get, it averages it out, so it spreads it out. Okay. There it is. Got the up close, and it triggered me in, and it only slipped me 1 tick, so that's not bad. All right, so now after 4 ticks in profit, we'll move the stop to break even. Right, we need 1 more tick in profit. It's got to get right here, 0.8. Move the stop to break even. There it is. Stop goes to break even. Now we look for targets, right? First spot will be up here at 2.2. Once it gets up to 2.2, I'll trail, but right there looks pretty good at 2.4. I'm locking just 1 tick because every trade costs me about 75 bucks. So I'm gonna lock in 2 ticks. And now that looks better up here at 2.6. If you, and we just got filled at 2.6. Okay. So we went from 1.4 to 2.6. And I don't know how it filled me up there, but yeah, it did right there, 2.6. So yeah, what was I going to say? 1.4 to 2.6. Oh, I was going to say the rules for the trade setup. This is one of the things. One of the questions this morning was how you trade your stop. So this is how I do it, right? And this is all in writing. This is all here in writing. So there's rules that you follow, right? You enter the trade. In this particular case, we entered this trade off the ribbon right here. All right, I knew it was going to be a trade. It didn't matter what happened with the slingshot. I knew it was going to be a trade. Now, the slingshot, normally you'd have to have it come out of the oversold to give you an arrow. All right. We weren't coming out of the oversold, so I knew we weren't going to get an arrow, but I knew it was still a valid trade. That would be a long trade right here without the slingshot. That's the rule. So what has to happen? Well, 2 entry rules for all trades on all platforms. They must come after a higher or lower swing, and they must be in the long-term trend direction. So in this case right here, the outer band's your long-term trend. If they're spreading going up, you're in a bullish trend. You're in a long-term trend, long-term bullish trend. This right here was the higher swing it came back from. All right, so it pulled back, hit the ribbon. Right here, steps 1 and 2. We satisfied those. Now here, it has to touch the ribbon on the pullback. All right, and the black line in the ribbon must be on the bottom and in the green. So the black line right here is on the bottom and in the green, and price touched the ribbon on the pullback. So I knew on an up close, because it hadn't pulled back down and touched the black line, I knew on an up close that that was going to be a valid trade. Right? I knew ahead of time, so I was able to put my order on ahead of time. And I did, and I got filled. I only got 1 tick of slip, and I got 11 ticks overall in profit on that. Now, 11 ticks in this case with a Russell is $55. So it's 55 times 15, whatever that is. Come on, 55 times 15. So that's 275. So yeah, that's right. 55 times 15, 275 bucks is what I made on that move. The one before it, where we had 30 times 15 times 5. Wait, I had 2,250 on the move before it. That one on the NQ. All right, I made 30 ticks times $5 a tick times 15 contracts. $2,250 is what I made on that one over here on the NQ. And this one right here was 11 ticks. Yeah, it was. I didn't do the 15. It'd be 11 ticks times $5 per tick times 15 contracts is $825 is what I made on the Russell. It was $2,250 on the other thing. I spread this up. I can have it show the history or something, but yeah. So plus $2,250. There. So in those two trades with 15 contracts, I only made $3,075. Now that's pretty good. If you only had one contract on, it's still $205, which is pretty easy money for 21 minutes of work.
And one contract is not where you start. You start in demo.
So you start in demo. You start with 0 contracts
until you put together 10 consecutive days in a row where you reach your goal, 10 trades or less, and our blueprint will give you the green light to go live with one contract.
Mm-hmm.
And then your goal is to increase your account balance by $2,000 so that you can add a second contract with profit you earned in the market. And the blueprint walks you all the way up to contract number 20.
And we're at contract number 15 now. So we're at 1.2 right here. So I'm going to be buying 2.0. Oops, 2.0. Same thing as the last time. We haven't pulled back enough to hit the black line. We're in the ribbon. We could come out of the oversold right now, and it could give us a blue arrow. Before, there was no way we were going to get an arrow because we weren't coming out of the oversold. There's a chance we'll get a blue arrow here now. But 8 ticks from the bottom of the bar. So now the bottom of the bar is here at 1.1. So 8 ticks from the bottom is right there at 1.9. Okay, 1.1 up to 1.9 is what we're buying right now. It's 8 ticks from the bottom. It's 1 tick more than the bar size. All right, now something just changed right here. And it's important that you understand this. This just hit the black line. So you're no longer going to have a blue arrow. It'll be a green arrow. If you have any arrow right now, it'd be a green arrow. All right, if you have any, it's going to be a green arrow. It's got to pull out of the oversold to give you an arrow. There's not a guarantee that this is going to be a trade anymore if it pulls out of the oversold. I mean, if it gives an up close, right? If it pulls out of the oversold right now, it'll still be a trade. But if it goes down anymore, it might not be. But there's no guarantee it's going to be a trade. There's no guarantee it's going to pull out of the oversold on an up close, right? I think it will. So you can put a buy stop limit 8 ticks above. It'd be right there now instead of up there. You're right there at 150, 8 ticks above the bottom of the bar. Okay. So this bar's got all 7 ticks range in it. It's got 0.7. Oh, it's got 1 more tick to go. 1 more tick to go. Okay. There's no guarantee this is going to be a trade though. If it doesn't pull out of the oversold, it's not a valid trade. If it does, then it'll give us a green arrow. Okay. So while this one is starting to go up a little bit, this is starting to look a little bullish, and this is going sideways to bearish right now. This being the ES on this one and the NQ over here. Okay. So let's see. If it closes down, it'll probably disqualify the trade. Okay, so we're just waiting to see if that happens. Click on this. I know there's people out there watching, and there were people out there in the. Am I still logged onto that? It looks like. So we're just waiting to see if we get a close up. And if we did, and we got traded in, we got some slippage. So my buy stop limit was at 0.5, and I got filled at 0.7. So I got 2 ticks to slip on this. Now it looks like it's going to go up to right there again, 0.6. So after 4 ticks in profit, I'll bump the stop to break even. Oh, it did it? Okay. Huh. Yeah, I was wondering why, because we had a good group of people out there, and then there was no people. So I don't know. On my side, it hasn't said I disconnected yet. Usually it'll say I disconnect when I do. All right, so here we just hit 4 ticks in profit. I'm gonna go to break even. And now this is the number that it looks like. This will only be 9 ticks if it gets there right now. And if it moves up some more and it gives me a better number, then I'll go for that. But right now I'm looking left, and 3.6 is actually the number where it should get up to. 3.6 is all the way up here. To continue the trend, that's what it has to go through right now to continue the trend. That's what it needs. Now the 2.6 number was what the Don was suggesting. And I think I was about to get into that a few minutes ago. When you're in a trade, reading the DOM was in yesterday's lesson plan. It's in Thursday's lesson plan. So for anybody that's taking the trial, anybody that plans to take the trial, learning how to read the DOM is great for management of a trade. Now, anybody can put a trade on. It's telling you what to do when you get in the trade. That's where the real money is. Okay. And that's in Thursday's lesson plan. So you guys, if you take the trial, stick it out till Thursday. This should go up and hit the prior swing high right here, right? All the way up here to this number.
Signing up for the trial today automatically turns a 5-day trial into a 7-day trial because Saturday and Sunday don't count against you.
Yes, right. Yeah, and it's all updated on the website. So you sign up today, you get all the information to get in starting on Monday, but we'll get your indicators enabled today. Right? If you give us all the information, we'll get your indicators enabled today. Right. So we're in this trade right now. We have 4 ticks locked in, and I'm anticipating it's going to go all the way up to here. It may come back and take me out with the 4 ticks right now. And if it does, it does. I'm okay with that. It did, and I'm okay with that. It's now 1:26, so we only have 4 minutes left in here now anyway. So now, so far, we've made what? In here we've made 15 ticks, and on the NQ we had 30 ticks. So we're plus 45 times 5 times 15 right now is where we stand on this session. And what we anticipate is that it's going to get all the way up through this level here. It's taking me out with a little bit of profit, 4 ticks of profit, and on the NQ with $15, it's 55 times. That's 20. 20 times 15, whatever that is, $300 is what I made in that one. So it's been a pretty profitable half hour so far, 27 minutes. Especially considering I talked about other stuff most of the time and I've only taken 3 trades. We would like to see this pull back. One thing that somebody asked this morning is why do I only have 2 lines in the ribbon here? Because you really only need 2 lines in the ribbon. The leading edge and the trailing edge are the ones that make the decisions in the ribbon. The middle lines don't. But since this carried over from DT Pro and NinjaTrader, where the lines in the middle did matter, they were very important. They were critical to every trade. We just carried it over with those in the middle, but you need to have those lines in the middle if you want them. Right? Leading the trailing edge of the ribbon. That's where the decisions are made. The black line depends what color it's in. If it disqualifies or qualifies the trade, or an arrow color. And the leading edge is the same thing. It's there, hit it. That helps determine what color arrow you're going to have. Okay. We got the golds is just dropping and dropping, but we didn't get a trade set apart. We had these black arrows, but they were too close to the swing low I want to take. When I say they're too close to the swing low, what I mean is for every one of these trades here on the 7-tick range charts, you're risking 10 ticks. You want to make sure you have 10 ticks between your entry point and the swing low. Okay. Should make sense to everyone. And we're just about out of time, guys. So we had 3 good trades in here. We had this one right here, we had this one right here, and we had this one right back here. Right, 3 nice trades, and you can see this did hit the first and the second target that it had outlined here from this blue arrow. And this one, the last blue arrow in this one was a short, so that's where you see these red lines over here. If you click on that, you'll see the table runs off of the blue arrows. All right, so the last short was from right here, and the first target was there, the second target was there, the third target was there, and the 4th and 5th are further down, right there, 4th and 5th. All right, you see it only hit the first and second target. These blue arrows right here.
What you just saw Michael do, you can also do if you learn the strategy, which is quite simple, and have the patience and self-discipline to wait for the trade to properly set up, as Michael did with 3 trades that he took.
That's it. It's just a matter of being patient. I mean, we have everything you need to be successful with this. You just have to follow the rules. You have to have discipline. All right. Well, that's going to be it. I'm going to wrap it up here, guys. If I don't have any meetings with you this afternoon, hopefully I'll have a great weekend and be safe and make good decisions. And we'll be back on Monday. All right. If I don't have any meetings with you this afternoon, Dwayne, I can pass back out to you in fabulous Phoenix, Arizona, in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, Arizon's largest city park. If you are ready.
Yep, I am. Recap of the morning session.
The morning session today, it took 23 minutes and 2 trades to get to, hold it, 23 minutes and 2 trades to get to, today was $1,800. $1,800.
Great job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, guys, here's where we left off with the recap of the CTAs. If you missed the first part of the broadcast where I went through the CTA, showed you the list that was sent out last night at 6:40 p.m. Eastern. In 2 hours, you can go to youtube.com/CFRN and you can see the first part of the broadcast. But for the sake of time, I'm not going to go through all that again, but it's there for you. We archive every daily broadcast. There's over 2,400 daily episodes archived for your educational and viewing pleasure, including today. Even though we had a mishap with the GoTo platform, the YouTube platform just kept streaming like nothing ever happened. Okay, I want you to notice that red and falling has turned to blue and climbing. Now, when price pulled up to the BBC, we expect resistance, and we got it. And we got it. Then we got above it, but we couldn't take out this swing high right here. Okay, so what did the market do? It went back down to the target for a third time, then a fourth time. But now the dynamic looks like it wants to change. Red and falling has turned to blue and climbing. That's bullish. Price is actually above the BBC. So where are your obstacles? Clearly, you've got one right there at 53.04. And you've got a bearish cross right here at 53.04. So I would let price get above 53.04 and trade something like 53.06 to 53.08. Okay, or 53.07 to 53.09. But you've got potential resistance here and here if the market tries to make a run at the long target. Okay, remember, it was not able to take out this high earlier in the session when it tried, but it's definitely trying to trade higher. But is this now? We're only 3 minutes into the life of this candle. So these are 30-minute candles. A lot can happen in 30 minutes. By the time this candle closes, we could be at the long target, or we could be down in this area here. Remember, price is always trying to get to a weekly trading zone. If price is above the BBC, it's trying to get to the zone overhead. It's below the BBC, the green line, bull bear cross. It's trying to get to the zone below. Now, just because it's trying doesn't mean it always gets there. But it's important that you understand what the market's trying to do. Okay? Now notice we're starting to show some wick here. All right? Sign of weakness. So by the time this 30-minute candle closes, if we're back below blue and climbing, and we take out this low, blue and climbing is going to roll over and become red and falling like that, and then you anticipate lower prices. What should you do right now? Absolutely nothing. You don't have a clear trade setup in front of you. I mean, you can click the mouse long and hope, or you could click the mouse short and hope. But hopium is not a good trading strategy. Blow up your account eventually, every time. Here's the open last night. We had a gap lower open. down to the BBC, which we expect to be good support, and it was. Sent us up to red and falling, back down to the BBC. As you can see, we're in a downtrend, okay? We dipped below BBC, then we popped right back above it. Like trying to hold a beach ball underwater in a swimming pool. Now, why did price stop dropping there? See, we had a red candle, and price wants to go down. But it stopped there. Why? There's your answer. Right there. This candle yesterday opened red, but when it hit this important price, important area, buyers stepped in, drove it back up, created a big green candle. A small red candle turned into a big green candle in 30 minutes. Now, this is the highest weekly trading zone. I commented yesterday. We are above the highest weekly trading zone. However, based on history, remember we've been publishing the zones almost 15 years, since December 14th of 2009. I said even though we're above the highest weekly zone, by close of business tomorrow, we expect to be at or below the highest weekly zone. And here we are. But look what's about to happen. Yes, we've come down. We've hit the short target. Okay. Then we ran into support created not yesterday, Thursday, but actually Wednesday. Okay. But the step line has crossed. See, all the way down, we had the perfect stack. Price, step line, red and falling, BBC. So what's changed? Well, the step line has crossed from the left side of red and falling to the right side. When that happens, price will typically attempt to retrace to the BBC. Remember, price always reverts to the mean, and the pullback pulls more often than it doesn't. See, here we spiked it, but by the time the 30-minute candle closed, we were down at support at the zone, 4120/125. We don't teach you to trade a specific instrument. Futures, stocks. I mean, we focus on futures because that's the best thing out there for trading. For so many reasons. We don't even have time to go through them all here today. If you think futures are like options, they're not. 80% of them don't expire worthless. All that stuff you've heard about options, probably most of it's true, but anyway, some people like trading options and they enjoy it and they do well, and that's okay. We even have an options channel for our passport holders, for those of our members that like trading options. Okay, but a pure futures play, that's where you really get your bang for the buck. The ES, as an example, at its current price, when you buy one S&P E-mini contract, just one, you're going to have to put up $750 out of your account to buy or sell one ES contract. But you're controlling over $260,000 of S&P 500 best of breed equity. Now, go tell that to an accountant, go tell that to a banker, and they'll go, well, that's a scam. There's no way that's possible. You can't control over $250,000 of anything for $750. But yet our members do it every day, and have been doing it every day since long before I became a futures trader back in 2005. Now on the Dow, what's the deal there? I used to have a calculator. I enjoyed those days when I had a calculator. I guess I have a calculator in my computer, don't I? Michael does. CAL. There it is, calculator app. How about that? I don't have my Alexa plugged in. So you take the now on the S&P, you take the current price of the index and multiply it times 50. Why? Because the S&P is worth $50 per point. The Dow is worth $5 per point. So, you know what, for simplicity's sake, let's just call it 4,000. That'll make it real simple. You go, I'm sorry, 40,000. 40,000. And how much is one Dow point worth? $5 times 5 equals. So with the Dow, when you purchase or sell one E-mini contract, you're controlling $200,000 worth of blue chip stocks. Now, go to your stockbroker and say, hey, I got $750. What you got for me? They might let you get half a share of Tesla. The S&P 500 is 500 large cap stocks. When you buy or sell one contract in the S&P 500, your risk is spread over all 500 stocks. When you trade stocks, you've got to try to pick the winners and the losers. You know, you got to do homework at night and study their earnings report and their balance sheet. See if the CEO has good moral fiber. Okay, you don't have to do that with futures. Price is going to do one of three things: go up, go down, go sideways. When it's going sideways, leave it alone. When it's going up, go long. When it's dropping, go short. You only need 20 points in the Dow to get your goal for the day. You only need 2 points in the S&P to get your goal for the day. $750, you're controlling $200,000 of blue chip stocks. Remember, there's only 30 stocks in the Dow, where there's 500 stocks in the S&P. And at the current price of the S&P, you're controlling over $260,000. Best of breed equity. $750. I'm not even going to get into the tax implications, because I'm the last guy in the world to give tax advice. But when you do your taxes, once you become a profitable trader, make sure that your accountant understands that you earn that money trading futures, because there is a thing called the 60-40 split. If you're in a trade 30 seconds, 60% of your profit is taxed as long-term capital gains. And your accountant's going to go, that's not possible. Go look it up in your tax books you got over there on your bookshelf. And he'll go back and go, well, son of a gun, you're right. Now, 40% of your profit will be taxed at short-term capital gains, as to short-term capital gains. But 60%, it's a 60-40 win. It's incredible. You can control that much equity. Oh, but I heard that if people trade on margin, they're going to lose their home. Well, you got to be pretty stupid to do that. Because you use a hard stop. That's why we tell you over and over again when we're training you, and in the 24/20 blueprint, you never, ever, ever put on a trade without a hard physical stop. If you do, you're signing your own financial death warrant. Okay? Don't do it. Oh, but I heard if I put a stop on, then they're going to run my stop. Number one, who's they? The institutional traders? The ones with accounts in the hundreds of millions and trillions and billions of dollars? They're going to go through that much heartache and headache to get your one contract or your 10 contracts or your 15 contracts? That's not even lunch money for them. Don't fall for these urban myths, okay? There's so much fake news out there. It's unbelievable. All right, we got to get through this. Russell, okay. This is the highest weekly trading zone. Yesterday we traded above it, but today's Friday. Close of business, we expect to be at or below the highest weekly zone, and, well, here we are. Okay. So, the long CTA, we didn't quite get there, but guess what? You only need 2 points, just like the S&P. This candle opened at 2128.1. This candle ran up to 2131.8. Plenty of room to get your goal for the day. Okay. Then we dropped below the BBC, but we ran into the support level established yesterday. Here, here. We finally broke through it here. Okay. And we came almost to the target, and then the market found support here and sent us back to the BBC, which we expect to be resistance, and it was. And that sent us all the way down to the weekly trading zone. Support. So we bounced up to the step line, resistance. And that resistance sent the market looking for support, which it found. Right there. Now the step line has crossed. So what do we expect? A retracement back to the BBC and the highest weekly zone. Is it possible that this pullback could be buyers just get... Now, if you go back and look at the last few Fridays, institutional traders have not wanted to carry anything home over the weekend. 2 weeks ago, there was a huge sell-off. 3 weeks ago, last Friday, I don't think it was very dramatic, okay? What's today going to bring? I honestly don't know. I don't have crystal balls. Nor does anyone else, no matter what they tell you on their website or on their cleverly written emails, okay? So we almost hit the short target. We did hit the long target. We did hit the short target. We have found support. Defined Wednesday. This is Wednesday over here. This is Friday. This is Thursday. This line here separates it from Wednesday. People ask me, how far left do I have to look? As far as you need to. Okay. And yes, in TradingView, Michael built in a little tool so you didn't have to look left. But I'm just going to encourage you, learn how to look left. Okay. Sometimes those lines don't get drawn exactly perfect. And you should be observing those lines on a 30-minute chart. Otherwise, it's going to be noise. It's going to be like static on your radio when you can't quite get it on the channel. Okay, NQ. I mean, it's a great tool. It's beneficial. Hopefully, what it will do is encourage you to learn to look left. Here's where we opened. Made a run up to the BBC, but the market was weak. We missed it by about a tick, and then we dropped pretty fast right to the target, which was established when the market opened Thursday night. Boom. Now support's going to send the market looking for resistance. Resistance is going to send the market looking for support. Back to resistance, back to support, back to resistance. Now, what do you think is going to happen here? See this bearish cross? That is potential resistance. Make sure you allow price to get above that bearish cross on your 30-minute chart. Then you got lots of room to trade up to the next area of resistance. And it looks like this move, hang on. Man, I wish that scam likely guy would quit calling me. Just take a hint, I never answer his calls. See how you got blue and climbing here? Okay, that's bullish. So do I think this has the potential to run up to here? Yeah. Now the first time up, it will most likely be resistance. But if it backs up and makes another run at it, it may overcome it. Okay, fair enough. Let price get up to about 18,640. Yeah. And then trade to 18,650 or 18,660. And you just made $400 per contract traded. You've earned the right to trade 10 contracts and then be $4,000. Okay. But remember, you don't start trading 10 contracts. You don't start trading one live contract. You start in the demo account. You put together 10 consecutive days in a row. When you reach your goal in 10 trades or less, that proves you are learning, that you have learned the strategy. That's when the blueprint will give you the green light to go live with one contract. Once you go live with one contract, now your goal is to increase your actual account balance by $2,000. Once you do that, the blueprint will give you the green light to add a second contract. Now the first contract, that's funded with your startup capital, the money you put in your account to open it up. But the second contract is funded with profit you earned in the market. Blueprint will tell you when it's time to add number 3, number 4, number 5, number 10, all the way up to number 20. But you only add one at a time when the blueprint says it's time. And you only add with profit you earned in the market. If you have the self-discipline to follow that, it will make it real difficult to blow up another account. You got to have the discipline. Okay. Also in that 24/20 blueprint, you're going to have instructions on how to write your business plan and how to write your trading plan. Those are the rules by which you will live and trade. If you were to, for instance, buy a Subway franchise, you would get 2 sets of manuals. One set of manuals tells you everything you need to know about running a Subway franchise. How to go make your bank deposit every day, how to set up your credit card machine, all that stuff. But the other set of manuals, they teach you how to make the sandwiches. You see, they have a tried and true business plan that they know is profitable. If you only put 6 ounces of turkey on a foot long, and you only put 4 tomatoes, and you only put 1 handful of lettuce, and you open in a high traffic location, you're going to be profitable. When's the last time you saw a Subway, a Burger King, a McDonald's, a Wendy's shut down? I've seen a couple in the course of my life, but very few compared to all the ones I've seen flourishing with lines out the door. You see, the Subway people, they've already figured it all out. All you got to do is find a high traffic location and do what the manuals tell you to do. The second you start breaking the rules and doing your own thing, or you hire some employee, comes in, maybe a little stoned with the munchies, and he decides today he's going to give everybody 5 tomatoes on their foot long. Well, do you keep that guy around long enough, he can break you. Got to follow the rules. Okay, that's the purpose of becoming a passport holder, so that you don't have to figure out how to trade all by yourself and spend tens of thousands of dollars and God knows how many years of your life. It's already been figured out. All the questions have been asked and answered exactly the same since 2008. Okay? So if you become a member and you don't follow the rules, well, what can I say? And don't be mixing in other stuff. All that stuff in the past that just blew up account after account after, and I see it all the time. Especially in a mentoring session when somebody wants me to look at their charts. So I make them the presenter. And I see all this stuff on their charts on top of our stuff. And I'm like, what is that? Oh, well, this is blah, blah. And I bought that. And yeah, has that ever made you any money? Well, I'm just used to seeing it. Get rid of it. The less stuff you have on your chart, better your chance for success. Just saying. It's your trading business. Do what you will with it. But we're going to always try to help you and encourage you and show you how to do the right thing at the right time. Okay? All right. So where are we now? We're right at the bearish cross. So either we run into trouble here and back off, or buyers power us through. We'll just have to wait and see. You'll have to wait and see because I got to go. Here's crude. Here's where we opened last night. Below the BBC, red and falling, down to the short target, down to the zone. Now remember, I said only 3 things happen at a zone. 70% of the times consolidation. 20% of the time is rejection. See, this was a green candle all the way up to the zone. By the time the 30-minute candle closed, price had obviously been rejected. That tells you there's weakness in the market, so you should expect this. Bang, zone to zone. This candle opened at 80.84. Is that right? Open 80.84. So down to the zone, it's $300 per contract traded. Okay. From 55 to 90, you can do the math. It's $10 a tick. When the price of crude moves $1, that's worth $1,000 per contract traded. When gold moves $1, that's $100 per contract traded. Silver moves $1, that's $5,000 contract traded. So the market found support and consolidated. So now it's got to go look for resistance. Where did it find it? At the zone. And then look what happened. That short target multiple times. Here, here. But where did we find support again? Over here we consolidated. Here we got rejected. Because those are back to back, that's really consolidation as well. Trading's not easy. It can be simple. Okay, here's where we opened last night. Got blue and climbing. We ran right up to the BBC. The pullback holds more often than it doesn't, right? So we get below blue and climbing. Blue and climbing turns to red and falling. We ripped through the zone and hit the target to the tick. See that? And we consolidate for hours. Drop to the next zone, spike it, or consolidation. This support sends us looking for resistance, which we find at the zone. This resistance sends us looking for support, which we find at the zone. Caught a bounce. But we had all this red and falling overhead. We're below the BBC. So we continued lower to the next zone. Spiked it. Now we're pulling back up to it. Coming down, we anticipate support. Moving up, we expect resistance. These are the zones that were published Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. Once the zones are published Monday morning, they're carved in stone for the entire week. They don't change in any way whatsoever. Silver, first reopened. There wasn't even enough buying strength to get us up to the BBC. We ran into this resistance right here, rolled over, bang, hit the short target, hit the zone, consolidated. Actually dipped below it, pop back above it, resistance, dropped to support. Support center looking for resistance where it found it at the zone. And then the zone resistance has now sent the market looking for support. So expect price to most likely continue dropping back to the zone. Nice window of opportunity here. The good news is with silver, you only need 2 pennies to get your goal for the day. 2 pennies. This candle opened at 24.95. We'll call it 24.95. And ran up to 25.08. That's 13 pennies. That's $650 per contract traded. The euro. The euro looks like the one market that is going to close below the lowest weekly trading zone. As I explained yesterday, over the last almost 15 years now, since we started publishing the zones, there has definitely been a couple of handfuls of weeks where price in one of these markets either closed above the highest weekly zone or below the lowest weekly zone. And this week it looks like the euro is going to close below the lowest weekly zone. Now that could change between now and the close. And remember, futures don't close until 5 p.m. Eastern. Stocks stop at 4 p.m. Eastern. Futures keep going for another hour. Friday afternoons are typically pretty quiet. So that's it. We got a little doji on the day. We had a red candle earlier. Now we got a doji. I jokingly said this morning in the live training room that this might be, when we had that red candle, this might be the beginning of the great sell-off that I expect to take us back down to at least this 50% fib retracement. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. See how we close today. If by some freak force of nature we should end up closing below the daily step line and the daily blue and climbing, that's real bearish. If we get a burst of energy and take out the all-time historic high put in yesterday, then that's very bullish. And you should be looking at the next fib extension overhead at 54.35. Keep all that in mind when the markets open Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern. That's when we open for business, Sunday night, 6 p.m. Eastern. First, the CTAs come out, and the logic alerts come out. Now, stock traders are used to the week starting Monday morning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern. Those of us who trade futures, it's one of the reasons we like futures. They trade around the clock. And the clock starts Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern and keeps running Friday afternoon at 5 p.m. Eastern. There is a 1-hour break every day. Yesterday it was the Thursday session until 5 p.m. Eastern. Then the markets went quiet for an hour. And then last night at 6 p.m. Eastern, the markets reopened, and that was the beginning of the Friday session, the Globex session, even though it was still Thursday night here in the U.S. To become a member, go to mytradingiq.com. If you have questions, call us at 949-42-EMINI. You can also text us at 949-423-6464. And you can email us, of course, support@cfrn.net. 9 out of 10 new traders fail simply because they don't have a teacher. I suspect 90% of attorneys, helicopter pilots, and baristas would fail if they didn't have someone to teach them how to do the job. Now, what does it cost to become a doctor? Well, if Joe's the president, I guess nothing, because he'll just cancel your debt. While the hardworking Americans that couldn't afford to go to college or had to work to support their families instead of going to college foot the bill, their taxes. Don't get me started. But seriously, whatever you want to be in life, you got to find somebody willing to teach you how to do it, whatever it is. It's no different with trading. Problem is 9 out of 10 people look at trading as an easy button to life. Oh, I put $2,000 in an account, bang, I'm a trader. I'm just going to click the mouse and live the high life. How's that working? If you're listening to the words of my voice right now, you know it ain't working. Along with 2 hours of live training every day in an interactive environment where you're trading along and asking lots of questions, and you're trading in your demo account until you qualify to go live. Along with that, you have access to one-on-one private mentoring at no additional cost. The strategy you learn, the indicators you own as a passport holder are fluid across all markets, all time frames. Futures, stocks, crypto, Forex, ETF. How's that possible? This price flows the same across all markets and all time frames. Support to resistance, back to support, back to resistance, over and over, again and again, a never-ending cycle. It's been in place since the inception of the markets and will remain in place till the markets cease to exist. As a passport holder, you'll also receive the Logic 247 alerts, the concierge trade alerts, the weekly trading zones every Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern, and you'll get the golden key that unlocks all the private channels in Telegram. And if you haven't taken your trial and you sign up for the trial, the very next thing you do is go install Telegram. Go to telegram.org. It's fast, it's free, it's secure. You have about 10 different channels. You'll have access to 2 or 3 of them during your trial. But once you become a member, you'll have access to all of them. That's the heartbeat of the community. While you're on the trial, you can talk to our traders. You can ask them, hey man, is this a good deal or not? Did it really help you? Have you become consistently profitable? Are you better off today than you were a year ago or 6 months ago? So you don't have to believe me. Believe our traders. Believe the people who actually became passport holders. That's the truth about trading. All right, I got to run. Let's wrap it up with our good word for today. The last 3 days, we've been talking about finding common ground. Today, we're going to switch it up. A father's blessing. Genesis 27:27. My son is like the smell of a field that the Lord has blessed. Every child longs for their father's blessing, and every father is called to bless their children. When Isaac blessed his sons, he was acting on God's behalf, using his divinely delegated power to impart a blessing. A father's blessing was a cherished institution, but its effectiveness rested on the fact that Isaac blessed his sons as an act of faith and not out of mere sentiment or favoritism. By Hebrew custom, a father's blessing comprised 2 elements. Number 1, a meaningful touch. We read in Genesis 27:22, Jacob went close to his father Isaac, who touched him. Then his father Isaac said to him, Come here, my son, and kiss me. A patriarch's blessing included the laying on of hands, a kiss, and embrace of acceptance and love. Jesus knew exactly what children needed. That's why in Mark 10:16, he took them up in his arms, put his hands upon them, and blessed them. And such expressions of love still bless our children who crave them from us. And number 2, along with the meaningful touch, number 2 is a spoken word of affection. Before blessing Jacob, his father said to him in Genesis 27:27, the smell of my son is like the smell of a field that the Lord has blessed. Now, to a city dweller, these words may not mean much, but to Isaac's boys, this old outdoors patriarch who loved nature was in essence saying, That's my boy. An outdoorsman who loves spending time in God's creation, just like me. He couldn't have spoken more affirming words to his son. So dads, granddads, great-granddads, hear me. Don't let your words be critical, demeaning, or insensitive. But words that say, I could not be prouder than to call you my child. And you speak those words whether he's in the Oval Office or on death row. That's our good word for the week. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with his mercy and with his grace. And I'll see you at the bell. Okay, we'll try that again. There we go.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading E-mini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, Call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.